Welcome to Mutt's American Crime. I'm your host, the Celtic Mutt, and on this channel, we delve into the darkness to shine light on cases that may potentially be going cold. Today, we're going to delve into some questions I personally have about the Summer Wells case. Now, I am just a commentator. I do not claim to be a journalist. I am just somebody who has questions and enjoys true crime. This channel is strictly for entertainment and educational purposes only. All questions and opinions expressed on this channel are mine and mine alone. Now, as I stated, do have some questions. I have been looking at a number of different channels on YouTube that are covering this in the true crime niche, of which I am now slowly trying to get myself involved into. And I am going to ask a few of these questions. Now, one of the questions that was brought up in one particular video that I watched was, why wouldn't the neighbors allow the police to search their property during the initial search for Summer? Well, that one for me was relatively easy. My mother, for example, along with some other family members, is from Western Kentucky. And I will say that Western Kentucky and Eastern Tennessee and different parts of the mountain regions of the Appalachians, the hollers hold secrets. It's just that simple. I mean, the reason that somebody wouldn't allow the police to search their property could be something as simple as they're growing weed. They've got a dogfighting ring in the back. There's something that they don't want the police to see. It's just that simple. There's not anything more nefarious than that. That does not mean that they were involved in the disappearance of this young girl. It just means that they made themselves. And I don't know these people. I've never even been to that section of Tennessee. But it's pretty self-evident to me that the reason that they would not want the police on their property is there's something there that they don't want seen, or they just simply don't like the police. I mean, let's face it, after the last 3 or 4 years, would you trust every cop that comes to your front door? I know I don't. But that's because I've seen some of the things that the woke police in this area and surrounding areas throughout the country have taken part in. Was the reason, this is the next question, was the reason Summer's head was shaved because, wait a minute, was the reason Summer's head was shaved because, as Don said, it was unmanageable and she wanted to be like her brothers? Personally, or was there something a little darker? Personally, if it was just because it was unmanageable, that's bad parenting. There's a thing called a brush. Use it. Brush your child's head. Keeps the hair healthy. Doesn't make them look homeless and bedraggled. Brush the baby's head. I'm not buying, did she want to be like her brothers? Maybe. Was her mama a tomboy? Out of Candace's own mouth, yes, she was. So maybe they did shave her head for that fact. Me personally, I don't know. But I will say that there could have been a more dark reason. there have been rumors that Don had been renting, if you will, the child uh, out. And, it would make her easier to hide. It would make her easier to disguise if you shaved her head. I hope to God that's not the case. But it's something that has to be considered. I'm not saying that that is the case, but it needs to be considered. I don't. Again, these are just questions that have popped into my head. I've gone down a lot of rabbit holes in my time, and I've become very cynical. And I don't trust that the easy answer is always the correct answer. Now, the next question that was brought up, should they give the 15-year-old Hunter, the friend of Candace's, a lie detector test? Well, before I answer that one, let me ask another question. Why does a 30-something-year-old woman have a 15-year-old friend? Is it because, as she stated in one of her videos, that she was friends with this boy's mother, but they'd had a falling out, but she wanted to stay friends with the boy, so that didn't make sense to me. There's something not right there. Sorry, that's my opinion. There's just something not right in that particular scenario. I can't see having a 15-year-old friend without the parent. Just something doesn't make sense. Should they give him a lie detector test? No. In my opinion, no. Let me state one more time so that there is no misunderstanding. Everything I am expressing here are my personal opinions. No, they shouldn't give him a lie detector test. Why? Because lie detector tests in many states, I don't know about all states, but I know in a number of states, have been classified as inadmissible because they are faulty. You can bluff a lie detector test. I happen to know somebody who worked at one time for the federal government who did administer lie detector tests for the military, and he himself has told me that lie detector tests can be faulty. So not to mention, you've got a 15-year-old kid. He's automatically going to be nervous. You're not going to get a base reading. This kid's heart rate's going to be through the roof. He's going to be terrified. Again, my opinion. So I can't see the purpose in giving him a lie detector test, especially since they're not, even if they do, the odds of them using it in court are astronomical, to say the least. So no, they really have no business giving them a lie detector test. They've kind of phased those out more or less anyway. The next question that was milling around in my head was, what did Candace mean in the text Hunter found in her phone's deleted text files when she said, "It's done," that was sent to a number that was attached to her supposed drug dealer? Now, again, that was something that was said in a video that I saw. It kind of stuck in my head. What do you mean it's done? What's done? I'm going to go down some rabbit trails here, and I'm going to let my suspicions run a little wild for a minute. Was there a deal made to pay off a debt? what was done. Somebody, if you know what that was in reference to, or you have a cognitive viable explanation for that, please put it in the chat. Put it down in the chat, or in the comments. I mean, I would really like to know what they mean by that. So please, by all means, feel free to leave that down in the comments. Hold on one second for me. I'm sorry about that. Now, the next couple of questions I have are revolving around pictures that have been circulating. One of them being the picture for the thumbnail for this, and that is the supposed doorbell cam picture. Something that struck me as odd in that doorbell cam picture was the fact that it had been stenciled out. It looks like somebody had taken and used one of those the computer program where you can just take a blue pen, quote unquote, and scribble out. Why would you do that? Why? What was the purpose in scribbling out what she was wearing? That is a key piece of evidence. What somebody is wearing can often be a key piece of evidence in a missing persons case, or in a cold case of some sort. I've looked into enough of these cases to know that people say that all the time. What were they wearing? What did they look like? Were there any identifying marks? And yet with this cold case, now I don't know. I will say I don't know if it was because the person who posted the picture, because that did come from that is a screenshot of the picture that was on a video. So I don't know if the person who posted the video scribbled it out for a particular reason, or if they did it before they turned it in. Whoever owned the doorbell cam turned it in that way. I'm not sure. I don't know. But I am curious. Why would you do that? That does not in any sense of the imagination make sense to me. I am just dying to know why somebody would do that. This next one was from Prayer Gardens America. This was something that she posted, I think it was 4 or 5 days ago on her channel. I am, again, new to a lot of these channels and am catching up on some of it. She posted this next picture that I'm going to share with you all. And I wanted to discuss this next picture here. There we go. Now, she is talking about in the video, or this is actually, now let me preface this. This video, or this picture, is a picture of a picture of a video, okay? I screenshotted this and did a little edit trying to pull out where you see that arrow. There's supposedly a face here, right here. I'm moving my mouse like you all can see it, but there's where that arrow is there's supposedly a face, and Prayer Gardens America was saying that she believed it looked like Summer Wells. Now this clearer picture, for those of you who know the case, know that this is Summer Wells here, but she was saying that this looked like Summer Wells. I have almost 2 decades of photography experience. And I'm going to tell you that in my opinion, that to me looks like it was either a double exposure or your mind playing tricks on you to make you think you see a face. Yes, it does look like a face. This is supposedly a screenshot of a video of I believe it's a minute and 40-second video where supposedly all these are, again, I'm using the mouse like you all can see it, but these what look like hooded figures are supposed to be men who are lifting somewhere up. That does not look like that to me. To me, that looks like it's either, like I said, a light trick or a trick. Your mind is trying to make sense of the picture or of the image that you're seeing, so you're equating it to a face, much like the people do when they see, the Virgin Mary in a grilled cheese sandwich or something. I will admit it does look like a head, but again, like I was saying a moment ago, it could easily be either a double exposed picture, a light trick. There's a number of things that it could be. Again, I'm saying this without having any context to the video itself. I would love if somebody has the video and is willing to drop the link to it in my comments to do so that I can actually see the video. I am not opposed to anyone. I'm actually here asking these questions and pointing these things out because I don't know, and I'm trying to get caught up. So by all means, if you see the video and you know which video I'm talking about, please, by all means. Now, there were some other pictures supposedly that went along with this one where they were all from a doorbell cam, I guess, on the same property of some sort of a ritual. But, again, I don't know. That to me just seems a little odd and a little off. Could it be? Absolutely. I mean, let's face it, the powers that be have been manipulating our children for how long? I'm trying to choose my words carefully here. I normally would say something far more impressive than that, but I'm trying to be YouTube polite, I suppose. There's just a lot to unpack with this particular case. It's hard to believe that this 5-year-old girl would now be 9, and they're still trying to find her. Now, I'm going to pull up if you'll give me just 1 second and let me do that, I'm going to pull up the doorbell cam picture because there is something I want to take a look at. Hold on 1 second for me. Stop screen. Okay, we're going to stop screen here. I think that's the stop screen. There we go. Now we're going to hit the share screen. Sorry, folks. Again, I'm not a professional. Give me just 1 second, gang. Share screen. If you're not familiar with Prayer Garden of America, please go check out her channel. I have actually, what little I've seen of her coverage of this case, I've been impressed. The only question I had was about that one picture. That's not to diminish or anything that she's put out. From what I've seen so far, she's doing really well. I just know what I'm looking at when I look at that photo. What I could potentially be looking at. Let me put it that way. When I look at that photo, but I am going to share this doorbell cam because there is something here that just, I don't know, that just, oh no, what did I just do, ladies and gentlemen? No, I don't think so. I think that is the wrong thing. I hit the wrong thing, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages. I think I hit my notes to something else. Give me just 1 second. I can't believe I did that, but oh well. Stop screen. Hold on a sec. This did not go as planned. I do apologize. I usually do a better job than this. Share screen. Summer Wells questions. Nope. Oh, Sugar Shack. I don't have it up here anymore. Okay. Well, I'm gonna fix that because I do have the pictures. I just got to pull up the right one. This did not go to, at all as planned. I am so sorry. Doorbell cam. There we go. Yep. I'm sure many of you have already seen this picture, but I am curious. Share screen. And there it is. That's what I've been trying to do. See how this picture has been stenciled out with the blue? Now, granted, this was a screenshot that I pulled off of another video that apparently this person had pulled off of TikTok. So again, it's a picture of a picture of a picture kind of situation. So I don't know who it was that stenciled this out, and I admit that, but it just seemed really odd that you would stencil that out. Why? Again, if anybody knows the reason for that they did that, by all means, feel free to share it. This looks like it was taken in the middle of the night. I have seen the age progressed photo of Summer Wells, and that very much looks like what I think she would look like. Could it be somebody else? Yeah, it could be. I don't know. But it does, from what I've seen of Summer, it very well it could be her. I don't know. I am just really baffled by this entire case. I am still unpacking the body language situation with the parents. I have my own opinions on Don and Candace and Grandis too. But until I have more solid proof of to back up my opinions, I'm going to keep those to myself for the most part. I think that there is a very strong possibility that that poor young girl is no longer. If you want to read between the lines, there we go. I don't think that they're going to find her and go off into the sunset and live happily ever after. I think that the boys know more than they are able to share at this time. All of them are minors. We need to keep that in mind as well. They are all minors. Thank the Lord that CPS did step in. There were obvious reasons for that. CPS doesn't just waltz in and take a kid out. They just don't do it. It just doesn't happen that way. So I'm thankful that but those are those boys would be who you would really need to talk to. Honestly, to get some solid answers, I think. I mean, yeah, they were upstairs supposedly, and she had come into the house to go down and went down, told them that they were going downstairs. Okay, I get that. But her mother comes in, 2 minutes later, she said? 2 to 10 minutes later? That's the other thing that bothers me. Let me back up a minute. Candace Bly Wells does not seem to be able, in my opinion, to not only keep track of her children, but she can't keep track of time either. How do you go from 2 minutes to adjust your mother's leg brace? So it could have been between 2 and 10 minutes before I went back in the house. Do you not know what you were doing in that other 8 minutes? Could you have not told the police what you were doing in that other 8 minutes? I'm finding that very, very hard to believe. I really am. I'm just going to say the quiet part out loud here, and whatever. It is my opinion. Let me say this again. It is my opinion that Don and Candace and Grandis all know what happened to Summer. Could I be off the mark on that? Maybe. But I don't think I am. And I would love to hear what you, the community of internet sleuths and true crime junkies like myself, have to say to that comment. I am going to do more videos on this as I break open more, as I develop more questions that I may have. I'm also going to cover other cases. Don't get me wrong. There's a case here in my hometown that I'm also covering. So if that is something that might interest you, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I want to thank you all for joining me for this little tabletop question period, I guess you could call it. I, like I said, am new to the community here. I'm not new to true crime, but I'm just new to this community. And I'm just getting adjusted to the whole YouTube thing as far as dealing with YouTube and the community and that kind of thing. But I do want you to remember one thing. People may have forgotten who Summer Wells was, but there are many of us who have not forgotten who she is or was. And we will continue to shine light into those dark cracks and crevices that hide the truth that holler has swallowed until the truth is revealed. So until next time, be good to yourself, and I'll see you on the next one.